I received a question about the tension on the mast, so in this video I will try to explain how to set it correctly. This is the tension mast. It has two green knobs on either side that are used to set the yarn tension. First, make sure you have threaded the mast correctly. There is a metal pin between the tensioning discs. The yarn must pass under the pin as shown in the video. The pin will keep the yarn strand between the tensioning discs. The higher the number, the more tension will be applied to the yarn. And the lower the number, the less tension will be applied. According to the instructions, in most cases the tension has to be set somewhere between 3 and 4. When knitting with correct tension on the mast, the antenna will move in a way that the yarn is constantly under some tension. This way there won't be yarn loops on the sides of the knitting. If the antenna moves very close to the last feeding hole of the mast, the tension of the mast is too tight. And if the antenna goes to the back, the tension of the yarn is too loose. I will set the mast tension to 3 for the first example. I'm knitting with 2 strands of acrylic yarn, and this is the perfect tension for this yarn. When knitting with the correct tension, the lock must be easy to move and all needles must stay in line after each knitted row. By the way, you may be wondering, where are my bows? Don't worry, they are all here. All of my yarn bows are outside in my yard, but I will tell you more about this experiment next week. Now you can see how the antenna moves when the mast tension is correct. The straight part that is on the end of the antenna is parallel to the ceiling when the antenna pulls the yarn back and gets to about 10 or 15 centimeters above the last feeding hole when the machine knits. Now let's set the tension to 1 and see what is going to happen. As you can see, the antenna is almost touching the wall. The machine knits, but the yarn isn't evenly tensioned. If you get in a similar situation but the tension seems correctly set, make sure the yarn passes under the metal pin which I showed you at the beginning of the video. Look closely at the end stitches and you will see how bad they look. You can even see the yarn loops caused by the loose tension. The tension in this example is so loose that the antenna is not able to pull back the excess yarn. This is what the edge of your garment will look like if you knit with too loose tension. But what will happen if the tension is too tight? When you start knitting, the antenna will hit the last feeding hole of the mast. The lock can get very hard to be pushed. The stitches will become tighter and some of them may drop or stay unknitted. If the tension of the mast is too tight, the end needles will be pulled up after knitting every row. The last thing that can happen if the tension is too tight is to jam the machine. If you think the tension of the mast is set correctly but you have problems while knitting or the edge of your garment doesn't look good, check the yarn that is coming from the cake. The yarn must flow freely from the yarn cake to the tension mast, so make sure to rewind your yarn and always knit with good looking evenly wound cakes. That's all for today. Have a nice day and see you in my next video.